What's good, everybody? Welcome to Grappling in the Grey with Naledi Create. And if you're new, thank you for pulling through. And if you've been here for the last few videos since the beginning, thank you for coming back and spreading the word. Those that are new, do subscribe and watch the video, like, comment, and share the video. So as you've seen from the title of the video, today I'll be doing a bit of reflection, or a lot of reflection, in terms of my previous relationships, and lessons that I've learned from those relationships that I guess will kind of contribute to how I feel I can handle relationships better moving forward, right? So that's what we're grappling with today, lessons from my exes.
You smoke with a nigga, would you? Would you smoke with a nigga, would you? Would you smoke with a nigga, would you?
Yeah. Top where she goes taking cookies or something. Oh my god, type some sugars.
I don't want to be caught this shit. Dog this bitch. Know what I mean?
So number one on that list is don't stop being friends, right? And I know this is like a tricky one, but one of the things that I realized when I think about the relationships I've been in, right, is the fact that most of the people that I've dated, we actually started out as friends. Could have been a day, could have been a couple of days, but there was something we had in common. There were things we could talk about that had nothing to do with Mjolo, right? So we were cool people. We thought we mutually had this feeling that, oh, you're cool, right? And that's why we started talking, and that's how come we hung out and eventually dated, right? But I think the reason why I'm saying don't stop being friends is because one of the things that I realized about myself is I used to have a clear distinction between my friends and my partner, right? And I think that's a weird thing to do, particularly because this is the person you hang out with. You tell them essentially, that's why I think most people end up having their partner be their best friend, particularly because y'all talk about everything and share most of the things, right? So I think one of the reasons why relationships get tense and hectic and heavy and all of that stuff is because we create these ideas of what a relationship looks like, and we just stop hanging out, we stop getting to know each other, we stop just chilling, and we create all of these expectations that if you're friends with someone, if I call you, I call you, if I don't, you call me. Nobody's no, why are not some phone daily, or any of those things, right? With friendships, we are more patient and just chilled and just figuring it out. Whereas the moment we oh yeah, we were on the talking stage, and now we're moving into, I don't know what the next stage is of the talking stage. Is it Mjolo, straight up? But yeah, anyway, we move from the talking stage, which is where I think you establish your friendship and you establish some sort of relationship. What do you like? What does this person not like? What's their favorite type of music? All of that stuff is stuff you are learning about this person during the talking stage, right? But I think then we stop talking at some point, right? We stop hanging out with each other and stop getting to know each other. And I think that's dangerous. And I think letting go of friendship is what makes breakups, when they do happen, as abrupt and as hurtful as they get sometimes, because this person is not your friend anymore. They are this list of expectations that you've created based on whatever it is that you think a relationship is, or a romantic relationship, that aspect is, right? So I think, yeah, so that's my number one on my list, which is don't stop being friends. Because if you're friends with someone, like, I'm sure most of y'all can call your friends on their bullshit and just be like, yo dude, nah, that wasn't cool. No, what do you mean you said that? Why would you do that to yourself? Like, you have this chilled and very open type set up with your friends, and I think that is important in establishing or creating a healthy relationship. And I think it's very important to cultivate a friendship with someone that you like want to build a life with, or just like want to hang out with for the rest of your life. I think it's like building is like a weird thing that I'll drag myself on in another video. But yeah, so I think if you're willing to spend time with someone for the rest of your life, like, it's important that you're at least friends, and that's something that should be cultivated throughout the relationship. So that's my first one. And number 2 on my list is, it's not a competition. Don't compete, right? And what do I mean by this? I mean, like, you know how in relationships, and I don't know if you guys talk to your friends, but like, you'll have moments where you're listening to your friend, or you telling your friend, and you're like, no, but nah, nini, oh, Emily, this is a good example. No, but I did this on this person's birthday. Why didn't they do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And that's like, I guess, an example of what the idea of competing looks like in my head when I say don't compete, right? Like, it's not a competition. You're not in competition with the other person. Everything should be based on the fact that you are the one expressing your love, right? You are doing this thing as an expression of love, as an expression of affection, right? And it's important then to not expect the other person to outdo that, or when your partner has done something amazing, to be like in a state of panic and be like hella anxious about, yo, what am I gonna. And I think this is funny because, like, my birthday is in April, and almost everyone I've dated, their birthday is after my birthday, right? And I'm like, I'm not huge on celebrations, but like, there's something about when someone does something really, really nice for you, where you just like, oh, okay, yo, Linda must pull out all the stops, right? And this is something I've realized, like, is incredibly unhealthy, because A, you are anxious of all the way towards their birthday, but B, sometimes you actually don't pay attention to what they want and what they need, right? Because you're in this constant state as if like it's a race of some sort to who's gonna love who better, right? So that's my second thing, that it's not a competition. Don't compete with your partner. You guys are 2 different people or 3 different people, and that's fine. It's okay as long as everyone feels loved and everyone is respected. Like, nobody's trying to undo anybody. Like, it's not a competition. It's an act of love. It's a relationship full of love, and that it, like, those exchanges happen differently, and that is completely okay. So don't compete. And then, okay, cool. So third is communicate, right? But I think I'm gonna break down some aspects in terms of communication. And the first one is, don't wait too long to talk about the things that make you uncomfortable, right? And I say this in like, and I think this will tie back to the first lesson that I learned from my previous relationships, which is don't stop being friends, right? If you are in a friendship and your friend does something that upsets you, like, you just think about it, oh no man, but what's making Lydia must tell her that thing that they did was not on. Like, what were they thinking, right? And you don't like kind of like, no, I'll do it some other time, no, I'll do it some other time, right? You don't postpone. You don't postpone your discomfort, right? Because this person is someone you hang out with. You're gonna find them in a space, you know, you want to be in their company, so you don't postpone, because you want to like have an honest friendship with them, and that's important to you, right? So I think there's this idea that we have when it comes to romantic relationships, where we want to preserve the idea of perfection, right? Where no, Nalam Toka, we are like, we perfect, right? And nothing is wrong. No, man, they're treating me well, everything is okay, right? And like with that, we find ourselves in more discomfort, trying to avoid the discomfort, because the discomfort will build up, right? But B, we find ourselves breeding like contempt. I don't know if that's the right phrase, but yeah, like we are cooking a stew of resentment. That's what I mean, right? So like, definitely, to the best of your ability, don't hold on to the things that make you uncomfortable. At the very least, one of the things that I've learned in the last year is to kind of be like, yo, this thing is making me feel some type of way. I might not have capacity to talk about it now, but maybe let's talk about it some other time when I figured it out, right? Because at least in that moment, the other person knows that there's something that has made you feel uncomfortable, and you know that there's something that you need to unpack, so that when you talk about it, they're cool and they're kind of like ready, and they know that there's something that upset you, they know that there's something that didn't sit well with you, right? So that's my other thing. Don't wait too long to communicate discomfort. Cool. So that's a lesson. I don't know what number that is. Another thing, and this is tricky. It's tricky depending on how you and this person met, right? And this one is, don't merge friendships, right? That's something that I've learned, particularly because in a specific relationship, it was like very tricky to like go back in. Like we ended up, hey guys, these things of ending up like kissing your ex, ending up sleeping with your ex, those types of things happen because of these merging of friendships, because y'all will end up in the same circle. I feel like that is not true. You'll kiss your ex if you want to, right? But this is to say, create friendships or like have separate lives. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Like, have separate lives. Like, have your own friends and keep your own friends, and don't Oscar Foster, hurry, your friends must be one community, right? And I think this is interesting because, and also this is very subjective, guys. If it works for y'all, go ahead. But I'm saying this because I think it's tricky then for the people that are in your friendship circle to like pick sides. But if y'all were good friends, then they wouldn't have to pick sides. Yeah, so much like, yeah, that's basically it, man. Like, for me, have those separate friendships. But also, I guess another lesson that comes up, this was not on my list, but another lesson that comes up is encourage or keep having your individual life, right? And I say this because personally, I don't believe that one person can be everything, right? I think that is an unfair expectation to put on someone. So I think it's important then to like keep like your individual lives. And I know when you're in a relationship with someone, certain things will change because you want to spend more time with this person and but I think it is really, really important to like try and build or continue living your life, right? Because I think a lot of the times we like stop our lives and then try like live another different life because there's this new person in your life. And yeah, so I think try and maintain your individual lives as much as possible. I think that's one of the things that I think could have made a lot of my previous relationships healthier. It's like maintaining separate lives. Like, you don't have to be everywhere with each other for your relationship to work. So I definitely like encourage that. It's one of the biggest things I learned from my previous relationships, which leads me to the next lesson, right? Which is always center yourself. And I know this is like an interesting one, right? Because I've had this conversation with the person I'm seeing now, and like when they first said it to me, I was like, huh? I was like, oh, okay. And then I got it like after a few minutes. I had to like sit down and take it in. But what that means is, in every single decision that is being made, ask yourself, what is best for Naledi, right? And how does Naledi feel about this particular thing, above and beyond what the unit will look like, above and beyond what you guys together think it must be. Because one thing about a relationship, right, is that, or relationships, is that both people, or all of you in this particular relationship, have to be yourself, right? And in order to do that, you constantly have to remind yourself who you are to the best of your ability, to show up as yourself for yourself. And at the end of the day, I think if every party in the relationship, right, is able to show up and say, actually, I feel like this about this particular thing, then everyone will know exactly what this person is. Versus if I'm centering my damn friend, for example, right? If they're like, oh yeah, well, I think let's have ice cream today, and I'm just like, the weather, right? Let's have coffee. What do you mean ice cream? That is like very, very healthy, right? Because contrary to popular belief, we don't both have to consume the same thing. At the end of the day, me and them can just be like, okay, you want to have ice cream? Let's go pick up your ice cream. I want to have coffee. And then we'll go have your ice cream at the coffee place. So I'm going to get my coffee, right? So contrary to popular belief, it's actually okay for two people in a relationship to have different views on different things. But it's also very great for both or all of you to know how the other one feels, so that even if you meet each other in the middle, let's say perhaps I'm just like, ice cream, no, how about we have frappes, even though it's still a cold drink, but I still get my coffee, right? So the only way you can get to that middle ground is if both of you center yourself and are able to communicate your needs with each other. So that's my other thing. I stopped counting because, yeah, lists and numbers, weird. Also, this leads, I guess this is the same lesson, which is to always like speak your truth, man. Like always speak your truth, man, even when it's uncomfortable, man. And like this is a very difficult one, because I think personally I'm like very tricky. I don't know if tricky is the right word. I'm like very weird with confrontation. Like I absolutely hate confrontation. Also, I hate repeating myself, right? But one of the things that come with speaking your truth is like the necessity of understanding that that's not the other person's truth. That's not necessarily the other person's truth, right? So if it's not their truth or their lived experience, it means you are going to have to say it more than once, and they are going to have to hear you more than once in order to unlearn this practice that they have, right? And so I mean, yeah, so that's important for me. Yeah, so always speak your truth, man. Like I think one of the things that I've learned, and I'm trying to remember this quote, one of the things that I've learned, I posted something recently. I always try and jot down my thoughts on things, but one of the things that I'd said in this particular post is that it's important, we always get taught about how not to lose ourselves in people, but it's also like very dangerous to try and find yourself in someone, right? So it's like very important then to like dig deep within yourself, to know your own truth separate from the truth of this person or these people that you're trying to have a relationship with, that is healthy, that is good, that is loving. And yeah, man, and I guess my last thing on the list, my last lesson from all of my exes is that love is always worth it, man. Like, love is worth it, right? Do all of these things, but in all of them, center love, center care, center gentleness, right? Be gentle. I realize upon reflection that there's a lot of things, there's a lot of ways that things could have been healthier, things could have been better, things could have ended in healthier ways if all of us were just like gentler with each other and loving and caring and softer, man. Like, I think so. That's my third that's my last that's my last lesson for today's video. Yeah, let's engage in the comments, man. What are some of the lessons you've learned? I didn't want this to be a rant video. I'm like, yo, this is what, nah. So tell me in the comments, what are some of the lessons that you've learned? What are some of the lessons that you've learned from your previous relationships that help you navigate your current relationship, or have helped you like kind of get and understand the ways in which you want to be loved, if you want to date again, if that's even a thing that you engage. But I'd also love to hear how, like, lessons from previous friends. Yeah, friendship exes. I think that's an interesting thing. So I'd love to hear your experiences with your exes in the comments. What are the lessons you've learned? How do they shape how you do relationships now? And yeah, man, let's engage. It's like, comment, subscribe, and if you haven't already, check out my previous video. I'd really appreciate that. I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.